Hello, my name's Jo Beeman and I'm a school nurse with Walsall Healthcare School Nursing Service. This is a parent information session around children's relationships. First of all, welcome to the School Nursing Service. School nurses are qualified nurses who have additional training in child health and wellbeing. They work in a team with staff nurses, nursery nurses, support workers and administrative staff. The school nursing team support children and young people from reception age up until their 19th birthday. Young people who have disabilities or additional needs can access support until they are 25 years old. The team provide advice, support and help with a range of physical and mental health problems. This includes things such as keeping healthy, immunisations, emotional health, weight management, sexual health, drugs and alcohol and smoking. So Walsall Healthcare School Nursing Service operates a single point of access. We work Monday to Friday between 9 and 5 and we have duty nurses available during that time who you can access by calling 01922 423 349. We also have a text service available which is completely anonymous and confidential, and you can access that by sending a text message to 07520 634 909. You can text any time of the day, but we can only respond within the hours that we are operational, which is the Monday to Friday between 9 and 5. So why are we here today? So we are here because of the Change Your Mind programme. The pupils in Year 12 from Queen Mary's Grammar School have been trained as peer educators and they are delivering lessons to your children on various topics. We want to encourage parents and carers to talk to their children about what they've been learning in class through the Change Your Mind programmes. And the peer educators will have given your children some tips and ideas about how they can be healthier, happier and stay safe around a variety of topics. And they're going to need your support at home to put these things in place. We also know that parenting doesn't come with a handbook, and as sometimes as parents and carers we all need some help and advice so that we can support our children. And we're hoping that these workshops, along with the Change Your Mind programme, we're going to provide some support and ideas about how you can do that and where to go for further advice. So today's session is about the importance of relationships. For all of us, relationships are incredibly important, but for our children and young people, they're especially important, particularly for their development. Even as newborn infants, we are wired to connect to others. We are born with an innate ability to make and maintain positive relationships. And that develops throughout our childhood, adolescence into adulthood, and is crucially important to our ability to function in society, to maintain our mental well-being, and also to develop and maintain our self-esteem. So our children are going to have all sorts of different relationships with ourselves, with their siblings, with friends, teachers, with their pets. And as they grow up through school and into work, they're going to develop more and more different kinds of relationships. And the important thing that we can give them as parents and carers is a sense of security in themselves that enables them to manage their own emotions and behaviours and develop healthy, positive social skills that helps them manage their behaviour so that they can then go on to develop positive relationships with other people. An infant and a young child who learns that they will be responded to when they need help, that they will be comforted when they need it, that child will learn that they are worthy of that comfort, that they are worthy of that love, and through that they will develop a sense of self-esteem, a sense of self-worth, and that will then enable them to go on and make healthy, positive relationships with others. So relationships are important, but what is crucial about those relationships is the quality of those relationships. They need to be positive relationships, and to be positive, they need to be consistent. Children need to be able to depend on those relationships, and they need to be sensitive relationships. So they need to be sensitive to the needs of the children and also the emotions of the children. They need to be based on trust, honesty and respect. So the children need to be able to believe what they're being told. They need to be emotionally and physically warm. There needs to be unconditional love. So our children need to know that it's okay if they make mistakes, that the love that they receive from us isn't going to change, and a good open communication. And like we've already said, positive parental relationships with children is going to help them form that good attachment, which really is so important in helping children manage their feelings, their behaviour, and their ability to relate positively to other people. So healthy family relationships, that really is the starting point for our children in terms of their initial relationships with others. And positive parental relationships with children helps them to form that good attachment, which helps them manage their feelings and behaviour and relate positively to others. So some tips for positive family relationships. So relationships within the family is a really good opportunity for parents and older siblings to role model socially acceptable behaviours. So we know that it's difficult sometimes to get children to listen to us when we want them to, but we also know then that sometimes they're listening when we don't want them to, which is why it's always important to be aware that we are role modelling the behaviours that we want them to show us. So in our interactions with each other, in our interactions with society, we want to be role modelling those behaviours that we want them to see. So being friendly, being approachable, being considerate, dealing with conflict in a healthy way, spending time together as a family, so just reinforcing those bonds, maintaining that open communication, setting boundaries and being consistent. That's really important, and we all know that children love to test the boundaries, and they will do, but that's how they know that they're there, so they will do that, and it's really important that we just keep reinforcing those boundaries. Better that they do it at home with us than out there in society. And the more we reinforce them, the better, really, so that they know where they are and they know where those boundaries lie. They know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And being consistent with that is so important. Otherwise, things can get a little bit confusing for children. And taking time to listen to your child is really important. Goes without saying, really, unless we make time to listen to them, they're not going to be able to share with us any worries or things that might be going on in their world and what's important for them. And providing that physical and emotional warmth, again, is really important just for maintaining and building those bonds with our children. So healthy friendships then, as our children start attending play groups, nurseries, and moving on into school, friendships become more and more important to our children as they continue developing, particularly as they move into adolescence, more so than their parents potentially. Friendships become increasingly important as our children try to find out their own identity. So how can you help your child make friends? So again, being a good role model for social interactions is a good one. And it may be that not just in your own social interactions that you're aware of this, but purposefully playing out interactions in the home may be a good idea if it is your child is struggling perhaps with sharing or being aware of perhaps a personal space, or even isn't sure how to approach other children, or how to join in with games. Even, like it says, they're role-playing social situations, so actually acting through what they want to say in certain situations, or just letting them have an opportunity to observe how things should look, and then giving them opportunity to actually participate themselves in how things should play out, and perhaps even different versions. Okay, so that didn't go how you wanted it to. What might you say in that situation, perhaps to get a better outcome or a different outcome? Listening to your child's worries and friendships and helping them problem solve can be really positive and make a big difference to them. They're going to come to you with things that might not seem like such a big deal to us. Things like so and so wouldn't let me play in their game, and it's very easy for us to, we might feel a little bit defensive and a little bit angry with that child who hasn't let our precious child join in their game. But that reaction isn't particularly helpful to our little ones, and what we want to do is help them perhaps how they can deal with that situation in a way that helps them. So it's about asking them what they wanted from that situation and looking at different ways that they could achieve that, and then letting them go out and try it, and then asking them, okay, when letting them go out the next day and try it, when they come home, how did you get on? How did that go? Okay, what else could we try? Or okay, you got the outcome that you wanted from that. That was really good, and you did that yourself, and that could be fantastic for their self-esteem, which in turn is going to do wonders just in itself for their capacity to go out and build relationships. We've covered role-playing social situations, so if they are struggling or particularly worried, giving them the opportunity just to work through a few scenarios with you playing different characters can be really, really good. Just having that ability just to practice saying different words or using different kinds of voices. So it could be if they're having particular trouble with one child, perhaps he might be being a little bit mean or won't share, been able to maybe use a firm voice at home and practice using it at home for the child who isn't used to being firm. Or maybe you've got a boisterous child who likes to jump in and play, but some of the other children perhaps might feel a bit overwhelmed like that, and you want them to perhaps calm down, maybe use a calm voice, give them the opportunity to practice using those voices. That could be really good. If you have got children that are really struggling with kind of social boundaries and how to interact with other children, having play dates can be really, really useful. It's difficult at the moment, but potentially something that's worth doing, especially if you've got perhaps children within your friendship circle or within your family. If you've got perhaps cousins that you could arrange a play date with, because in that way it can be more managed. Perhaps if you can plan an activity ahead of time, so that you know exactly what the children are going to be doing, you can then that way kind of coach your child a little bit before the play date. You can make sure that it's only for a short length of time to kind of minimise the amount of time that your child is really going to have to be on their best behaviour for. Gives them an opportunity really to practice some of those positive skills, those good social interactive skills, and which if done successfully, then you can then praise them for, and then slowly and surely build on that to build up their confidence and build on their capacity to make friends. And praise and rewarding them is that's how they know they're going in the right direction. And we know that children absolutely love praise and reward. So yeah, just any opportunity that you get to praise and reward positive social skills, the better. And it's always good to frame it in a positive way. So if it's, and particularly if you've got one issue that you're trying to focus on, so it may be your child perhaps struggles with sharing or snatching, so you might want to say, oh, well done for not snatching. You wouldn't, instead of saying that, you would want to frame it more positively. So you might say, I really liked how you asked so and so for that toy and waited for them to pass it to you. That was really, really good. Well done. It's much more positive, lets them know that the way that they did it was the right way of doing things, and that they need to keep doing it that way. Okay, so how your child's relationships change. So we know that children go through a lot of changes throughout their childhood, and that of course affects how they relate to their peers and how they form their relationships. So friendships do change over time as children grow and develop their understanding of the world and learn new skills. So there are different stages of friendships. So what we know from research is that they can kind of follow a developmental sequence. So just like learning to crawl, walk, talk, and so forth, as do their friendships. So we can kind of group them into developmental stages. And these will probably be quite familiar to you. So between the ages of 3 and 6, friendships are very much based on what the child wants at that moment. So if that child is playing with a particular toy or wants to play a particular game, and the child next to them just so happens to want to play the same game, they're going to be friends. They're going to be friends for that afternoon or for that 20 minutes, and that's going to be great. There isn't really any concept of friendship over a period of time. And from one day to the next, it can be, well, you're not my friend anymore. If you don't want to play that game with me, then we're not friends. Between the ages of 5 to 9, that's going to morph to kind of what we call one-way assistance, a what's in it for me kind of friendship, where we see having a friend as someone who's going to provide us with something. So having a friend is important, but we want to know what's in it for us. What are you going to do for me? But in the same way, friendship is that important that you might have some children actually put up with not being treated very nicely just so that they have got a friend. But we can also see friendship kind of used as a bargaining tool. So this might be this stage where you'll find children saying to each other, well, if you don't do that, then I'm not going to be your friend. The next stage is the 7 to 11 friendship stage, where we call two-way, fair weather cooperation by the rules friendship. So this is where friendship morphs into a more equal form of friendship, but it's very much by the rules. So it works both ways. So, okay, so I expect this from you and I'll give you this back. But if I don't get what I want from you, then there's no deal. Then we're not friends anymore. Children during this stage can be quite critical of each other, but also of themselves. So you might hear children at this stage, well, I can't possibly wear that because nobody's going to want to be friends with me if you send me to school wearing that. You might get secret clubs appearing at this age range with very complex sets of rules that only particular people know, but this is probably likely to dissipate very, very quickly. There can also be quite a lot of jealousy in this age range. And then we see that morphing on between the ages of 8 to 15 to more intimate, mutually sharing relationships, more caring, sharing relationships, where it's not so much by the rules, it's more helpful. There's some genuine concern appearing for each other at this stage. It's no longer about you do this for me, I'll do that for you. There's no scorekeeping. They might start confiding in each other, being more open. But at this stage, you might see actually real sort of best friends appearing, where they'll just, two of them will stick together, but then there becomes an expectation that nobody else can enter that friendship, and that sometimes can cause difficulties within that age group. And then from the age of 12 up, we see friendships morph into more of an adult form of friendship, where it's a mature friendship, where we're friends through thick and thin. We're just friends, and that's what it is. And we've got that emotional closeness. You lose that possessiveness. There's genuine care for each other, an emphasis on trust. There's genuine trust and a want and need to support each other, and then friendships can remain then close over time, despite any separations. So they might change schools and still remain friends. Okay, so just want to talk a little bit about culture diversity and bullying. Children do need to learn that everyone is unique, and that there's something about everybody that is different. There's no single one of us that's the same. And parents and carers and all of us have a role to help children understand the benefits of difference and diversity. And a lot of children can and will experience discrimination and bullying, and a lot of the time this is because they're viewed as different. Bullying happens over a period of time. As part of bullying, children can experience being repeatedly, directly teased. They can be threatened with harm. They can have rumours spread about them, being left out of things on purpose, to the point of being physically attacked by someone or being yelled at. Bullying can be face-to-face. However, cyberbullying is an increasing concern with all social media platforms these days. It's children can't close the front door like they used to be able to, and if they've got a smartphone or access to the internet at home and social media platforms, then they potentially are vulnerable to cyberbullying as well, and which can have a devastating impact on our young people. So how to help your child if they are being bullied. So it can be very, very serious, the impact of bullying. I think it's something that all of us need to be aware of, and all of us need to know how to deal with it. Rest assured, there are actions that you can take to support your child and protect them from harm. So I think the important thing as parents for us to be aware of is how to spot the signs. The big one really is changes in behaviour. So you might see happy, go lucky, chatty, friendly child all of a sudden go quiet, moody, angry, sad, doesn't want to talk to anybody, locks themselves in the room, snappy, irritable. They might become scared of going to school, scared to go out the house. They might, perhaps they've been on the phone a lot, or a lot more, or a lot less. They might start complaining of tummy aches, headaches. They might not be able to sleep. They might start wetting the bed. They might come home with injuries or torn clothes, missing items. They might be losing their phone. They might have missing equipment from school. And I think the important thing is, if you do spot these signs, or you are worried about them for any reason, is that you create an open space where they can talk and you can reassure them, and just gently ask them questions about how they're doing, what's going on at school, what's going on with your friendship group, how are you getting to school, what's going on in your lessons, and just kind of asking those open questions. And then as they do start talking, if they are starting to talk about some difficulties that they're having, is reassure them that we know, it's not your fault that this is happening, and I'm sorry this is happening to you, but we can help. We're here to support you. We can help make this better. You haven't got to deal with this on your own anymore. I think a lot of the time children can be scared of telling their families about being bullied. Some children might they might not want to upset their families. They might worry about the bullying getting worse if they tell a grown-up. They might have been threatened by the bullies. If you tell anybody, we're going to do this to you, we're going to hurt you. So I think it's very important that they're reassured and they're involved in any decisions that are made as a result of what they're telling you, so that they know how it's going to be dealt with, and it can be done in a way that they feel safe with. So asking your child what they need is really, really important. What do they need to feel safe, to feel okay? Really, really important. And recording and getting help, definitely. So keeping a record of any incidents, dates, times, locations, names of people involved, and most definitely getting the school involved, whether it's happening inside or outside of school. If it's school pupils that are involved, then the school needs to be made aware. Kidscape is a fantastic website full of guidance for parents who are dealing with children that are being bullied. Like it says there, including communicating with and getting support from school. And school will have a policy on managing bullying, and parents and carers can ask to see a copy of that. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. again, just a quick reminder, we are here if you need us. If you've got any worries at all, have any questions about anything that we've talked about, any worries about your child's health, development, emotional health, behaviours, anything at all, please give us a call. We are here for you. So our telephone number again is 01922 423 349. You can also email us at schoolnursingadmin.walsall@nhs.net. We have got a Twitter, which is at School N Walsall. We've also got our Parent Chat Health, which is our anonymous and confidential text service. We've also got a school nurse webpage, which you can click on and have a look at. So thank you very much for listening. That's it from me. Goodbye.